Hey guys, Redneck Mini 14 here, and we made it to day 10 of the 10 Guns in 10 Days challenge. And let's be real, you didn't really think I was going to make 10 videos about 10 different guns and not include the Mini 14, did you? I mean, come on, it's in the name, Redneck Mini 14. And, obviously, the Mini 14, that's my all-time favorite rifle. And quite possibly my all-time favorite gun in general, because I love rifles. I love rifles more than I love shotguns. I love rifles more than I love pistols and revolvers and all the other different types of guns out there. I think rifles take the cake for me. So, this particular Mini 14 was the very first Mini 14 I ever bought. I bought it at Walmart. Ugh, Walmart. I know, nobody likes Walmart these days, but back in the day, I actually worked at Walmart, and I got discounts on guns and ammunition and virtually everything else in the store that wasn't food. You know, don't get me started on that. But, you know, I actually was able to get discounts on guns and ammunition, and back then, they actually sold Mini 14s and AR-15s. I don't think they ever sold AKs, but, you know, they sold quite a few different tactical guns and semi-automatic guns in general. Nowadays, I don't think they sell any guns, which is a real shame, but oh well. You shouldn't buy guns at Walmart anyway. I mean, the only reason I did is because I worked there. Support your local gun shops, guys. But anyway, this was the very first one I had. And, you know, I was just sitting at home one night, and one of my coworkers sent me a picture of this gun and said, "Hey, this just came in. Do you want to buy it?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to buy it." So I went up to Walmart and I, went back to the sporting goods section and I bought this rifle. And, it was a little pricier than what it used to be, but the price had just gone up, and that's just kind of the way it is. But this was during that Sandy Hook era where there was a huge run on semi-automatic rifles, AR-15s, AKs, M1As, Mini 14s, everything that was a semi-automatic, it was gone. Like, you couldn't get it. And I sat there for a long time wanting a Mini 14. This is back before I had any ARs or AKs or anything like that. This was really my first, well, not my first, but one of my first semi-automatic rifles. And, centerfire semi-automatic rifles, that is. And this is probably my favorite rifle. It's either a tie between this and my other Mini 14 and my Mini 30. Whew, shocker, right? These are just my favorite rifles. And of course, this one is unloaded. This is a 582 series. This particular one came with 2 of the 5-round magazines. And of course, I have lots of 20s and 30s as well. But, as far as in the safe goes, I keep one of the 5-rounders in it just because it saves a whole lot more space. And, yeah. So, anyway, that was the first Mini 14 I ever had. And first Mini 14 I ever bought. I was never handed down a Mini 14, so all the minis that I have, I bought. But I also have a Mini 30 and a Mini 14 with a scope on it, and those are both the pencil barrels because the older rifles, the 180 series all the way up through like 197 or something, had those really thin pencil barrels, and then they came out with the 580 series and up, and they have these thicker barrels and better sights, and maybe a few things internally is different. I'm not sure. But the Mini 14 is just my favorite rifle. And if I could have, if I could afford to have one Mini 14, at least one Mini 14, I should say, in every caliber that it ever came in. So 223, 5.56, 7.62 by 39, 6.8, 222 Remington. I think those are all the calibers that it came in from the factory, and of course there were some people who custom did 204 Rugers, and I'm not really sure if they custom, had made custom barrels for anything else, but there was also a Deerfield, I forget what it was, but it was basically a 44 Magnum, but it looked like a Mini 14. That would be another cool one to have, but I think I'd prefer to have the older 44 Magnum carbine, the one that looked more like a 1022. In fact, it was the predecessor to the 1022, I think. It came before the 1022. But anyway, if I could afford to have all those guns, I would. I so would, because the Mini 14 is just my all-time favorite rifle. Mainly because I'm not a tactical kind of guy. There was one point in time where I didn't want to have an AR-15, and eventually I kind of warmed up to the AR-15 and the AK, and I got, some of those guns. But back in the day, when I didn't have a whole lot of guns, this was the gun that I really wanted to be my main rifle, and it's because it just felt more at home to me. It ergonomics wise, it matches basically all the other guns that I had. My Marlin 22s and my 30-30 and my shotguns, none of those guns had pistol grips, and this doesn't have a pistol grip, which a lot of other semi-automatic rifles have. And that's why I wanted the Mini 14. That's why I love the Mini 14. And of course, you got that big Garand style action. The M1 Garand is another one of my favorite rifles. So, all those things combined just makes me love the Mini 14. On top of the fact that it's a 223-5.56, and, well, at one point in time, 223 and 5.56 was actually pretty cheap to shoot. Those days are long gone, as we know. But anyway, that is my my first Mini 14 that I ever bought. Anyway, before I go, I just wanted to say that I loved doing this series of videos. It gave me a chance to bring out some of the guns that I don't usually bring out, and it has basically inspired me to do another series of videos, which I'm going to call Redneck's Forgotten Weapons. And basically in this series of videos, I'm going to show off guns, mainly the older guns that I have, that I just don't show off a whole lot. You see a lot of Mini 14s and Mossberg 500s and Ruger P Series. You see a lot of those on my channel. You don't see a whole lot of the Winchesters and the old Remingtons that I have, and all those other guns that I have. I got some old 410s. I hardly ever show those off. I have an old Walther pistol. I've only showed that off like twice in this channel. So I plan on showing those guns off a little more, and maybe telling more of the history behind those guns. So that's what you can expect in the future on this channel. So subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.